Hello, good morning, good evening, everyone, depending on where you're joining from. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Zanera Ali, and I am part of the Making Sense International team here in Washington, D.C. And I am very pleased to welcome you here today for our event led by our Youth Lead ambassadors. To give you an introduction of our Youth Lead ambassadors, they are part of the program at youthlead.org. The program was launched in 2018 under the USA-funded project Youth Power Learning, and it is designed for young change makers who are making a positive impact in their community through service, activism, advocacy, education, and entrepreneurship. The Youth Lead Ambassador Program is an 18-month professional development and leadership opportunity for young change makers who have a proven track record in mobilizing other young people to have a positive impact. Three of our Youth Lead Ambassadors have gone together and prepared this presentation that will be focused on the aspect of women empowerment and equality for women. They will go one after the other and share their findings with you. So I will hand it off to Nelly to introduce herself and her team members and share the presentations. Over to you, Nelly.
Thank you, Sunaira, for that introduction. And thank you everyone so much for joining us today. Hopefully we'll have a great time together today. And while you're all setting and while we are starting, please share in the chat your name and where are you joining us from, because we really want to get to know each other. This is a conversation, so please feel free to, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and please introduce yourself. And before we start, I want to share the agenda for today so you know what to expect from this call. We will start with the introduction of the presenters, of the speakers. As Sunaira said, we are three youth-led ambassadors who have been working on a campaign related to the women's right and the women's empowerment for the past few months. And we want to share that experience with you with our project Equal Rights for Women. But we also want to bring good practices that we applied in our countries, Jamaica, Argentina, and Botswana, because we are young activists who are creating projects and impact in our community. And we want to show that to you in order to inspire you, and maybe you can take some good practices and some ideas from this call that you can hopefully apply in your own community. And we will end this call with a quick call to action and share with you some steps you can take if you want to create your own project in your community. And we will end up with some questions if you have any at the end. So without further ado, I will let Christina introduce herself.
Hi, everyone. My name is Christina Blake. I am a Jamaican lawyer in training, and I'm very passionate about women's rights and women empowerment. And my involvement and volunteerism dates back to high school, where I would help young people in my community with their homework and things like that. And to this date, I have been volunteering in my community and using my skills and knowledge to help others.
We have Sekgabo.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sekgabo Seselamarumo, and I am from Botswana. So I am a young person who's openly living with HIV, and I've been on antiretroviral for 20 years now. And I believe in youth empowerment as well as HIV research here in sub-Saharan Africa. And also what I've been doing is that I've been driving policy changes as well as amplifying the voices of young people in Botswana as a lead youth lead advocate through an organization, an NGO called Sintabale. And through my research as well as using my voice on radio, I do make sure that I reach young people and influence some of the changes that are there.
And then finally, I am Nelly. I am calling from Argentina, Buenos Aires. And I am a recent graduate from International Affairs here in my country. And I am involved in different youth-led networks and different impact projects in my community because I'm passionate about grassroots initiatives that identify a problem in their community and address it through different programs. And I am currently working at an international NGO called Junior Achievement, where we do economic empowerment of young people and vulnerable communities through educational programs. I'm so happy to be here with you all. So firstly, Christina will introduce our project to you guys. Right, so our project is basically focused, as I was saying, in the empowerment of women in different spheres of life, because we are, as we told you, we have different profiles specialized in different areas. So we wanted to bring that into this program. Christina, are you there? Sorry. Well, sorry, guys. I think Christina, is anyone hearing her or is it just me? Okay, I think she's frozen. Don't matter. I will explain our project to you. It's called Equal Rights for Women, and it's what we have been working on as a part of our youth-led journey. We are basically activists, as I was saying, that take positive action in our community, and we are passionate about women empowerment because we are women, and we have seen some of the issues and some of the inequalities that our fellow women face in our countries. Throughout this campaign, we hosted different webinars and Instagram lives focused on topics such as women's reproductive health and breast cancer research and awareness. And today we will share with you a bit of what this campaign looked like and our projects that we do in our communities. So I will go straight ahead and present my programs in my community while we wait for a...
Nelly,
Yeah,
I think Christina is back.
Excellent. I'm sorry, guys. Great. Go ahead, Christina.
So I'll be sharing with you 3 parts of my project on women empowerment. The first one being women's access to justice. There's also the Girls Talk series and our breast cancer awareness initiative. So as a legal professional, I've identified that there are several gaps in enforcing the rights of women and that these have legal implications. And so as part of my project, I'm involved in legal aid matters to assist women in getting guardianship, custody, maintenance, both child and spousal maintenance, as well as divorce. Especially within the Jamaican context, we find that there are many women in abusive and toxic relationships, and they feel as if they cannot escape. But there is legal recourse, there are legal resources that are available to them. And so my role is to educate them on these avenues to get help through the justice system. And so I assist them with preparing their applications for divorce. We also have a lot of father absenteeism within the Jamaican society, and this is basically where fathers are not present in the lives of their children and their spouses. And so many women, including young women, have to shoulder the financial responsibility of the family on their own. And so there is also legal recourse that can assist them, and that is through child or spousal maintenance applications through the court. And so I assist them and educate them on the different opportunities and ways in which they can get help through the Jamaican justice system. I also educate them on how to get sole custody and guardianship for their children. And this is basically a way to assist women who cannot afford legal services or who cannot afford expensive legal services in Jamaica. And so this is just a picture of the legal aid clinic that I volunteer with every Wednesday. We've also identified that women and girls feel alone in their struggles. And so the hypothesis is that if women and girls have a safe space in which they can share their experiences, they can learn from each other and be vulnerable, they will feel less alone. And so the solution for this is our Girls Talk series, which I'll talk to you a bit more. So the Girls Talk series is focused on creating a safe space for women and girls so that they can talk freely about things that are women related. And some of these things that form part of our discussion, they tend to be taboo, or people or young women feel uncomfortable speaking about them. So the series was created by myself, Nelly, and Sekgabo, and it was launched in March of 2023 this year via our Instagram profiles. The series aims to help women understand that they're not alone and help them to form a community and a network with other like-minded young people so that they can learn and they can improve. The Girl Talk series later expanded from mere Instagram Lives to Zoom webinars that address topical issues affecting women globally, one of which is period poverty. Episode 2 featured a Jamaican author and activist, Miss Shelly-Ann Weeks, and she's the founder of the Her Flow Foundation, which is a flagship project to end period poverty in Jamaica. She spoke to us on how period poverty affects several young women in Jamaica and different ways in which we can help to curb this issue by public education and just issuing menstrual resources for young women who are unable to afford it. So the series was held on the 23rd of June, and as previously mentioned, it featured Miss Shelly-Ann Weeks, as well as Sekgabo, who is an HIV activist and a YouthLead ambassador. And our webinar reached over 100 women and girls in Argentina, Botswana, England, Jamaica, and the US. So finally, I'll be speaking to you about our Beat Breast Cancer initiative that was held last month. We've identified that public education is critical in the fight against many diseases, including breast cancer. And so taking this into account, for the month of October, we encouraged research and sharing information orally and in written form to include a short article on how early detection saves lives. This is a photograph of some of my work colleagues, and we know that wearing pink doesn't get rid of breast cancer, but it forms part of the public education campaign, and it's a good way to encourage others to just help comforting someone who is suffering from breast cancer or who has a loved one who is suffering from breast cancer. So to the right is a short article that was written by me, and it basically speaks on breast self-examination. And this is one way in which young women can check for lumps, and it basically forms part of the mantra that early detection saves lives. We also, for this initiative, reached out to persons on social media who are suffering from breast cancer and would like to share their stories with other women so that they don't feel alone and that they know that other persons are here to support them and to comfort them. That is the extent of my part of the presentation. I'll now hand over to Nelly.
Thank you so much, Christina. So back to me again. I am really passionate about the professional empowerment of women. So today I will share with you two initiatives I have been involved in. The first one is STEM Up, which focused on the empowerment of women in STEM careers, so science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. It's a project that I did voluntarily. And Women for Development, which focus on the empowerment of female entrepreneurs, which I contribute to as a part of my job in Junior Achievement Americas. And if you can tell, this is me at the event of STEM Up. So STEM Up is a youth-led initiative. It's a part of a program from the Global Shapers community. Global Shapers community is an initiative from the World Economic Forum, and basically it encourages young people to get together in their cities and create impact projects to the problems they detect. And this program aims to help women in junior position in STEM careers to develop soft skills and create connections with women that are more senior in their pathway or that have already succeeded in their professional careers so that they can be better prepared to succeed in their professional journeys. Basically, the problem, so when we wanted to start this project from scratch, we decided to focus first on the problem, right? What is the issue we want to solve? And we detected that in our community and in most of Latin America, and I would say even the world, there is an underrepresentation of women in leadership positions in STEM careers. So even if women study STEM careers in university, and if they have intern positions, so they are junior positions in their companies, we see a lack of women in leadership positions. So we don't see a lot of women who are managers, and if we go to CEO level, that is even less in these STEM industries. And our first hypothesis was that if women can acquire soft skills, then they can be better prepared to be leaders, because we thought women already have the hard skills, the knowledge to be great leaders in STEM. But what they lack or what they face is an environment that is not very inclusive and it's not very open to them. I have one of the members of this team. She's an engineering and she works like in heavy industry engineering, and she was like the first woman in her team. So she felt a bit isolated and she felt that she lacked certain skills that would have helped her improve in her professional journey. Down here below, you can see listed the soft skills that we detected as the most important for these women to be able to acquire. Effective communication. Mostly, sometimes women felt that when they had to give a presentation to the rest of the team, they didn't feel confident enough because they were the only woman in the room, so that affected them. So we wanted to help them be able to correctly reproduce their message for others to understand. Time management, and this is what's very important to them, because most women, they have a family or they want to start a family or they have to take care of the houses and the household chores. So they really have to struggle with the work and also a lot of the responsibilities in their house. So they really needed to learn time management. Well, I don't think you can see it anymore. But the other one is career plan. So we wanted to help women to understand what path, a professional path, would make more sense to them, and to realize they can want to go to a leadership position. That is something that is between their possibilities to do. And the last one is mental health, because these women facing these situations and these environments where they feel alone and isolated really needed to have a strong mental health, and they also face a lot of anxiety and burnout, and we wanted to give them tools so that they can better manage those situations. And the second hypothesis was that if women are connected to senior female leaders in their careers, then they could have like role models to look up to. Even if there were few female in leadership positions, there were women already leading this industry. So we wanted to make sure our junior participants could connect with them so they can have role models and mentors in these women. And the solution was STEM Up, which is this program that we created. And this is a bit of the process we went through when creating this project, because then again, it was created by volunteer work and on a youth for youth kind of setting. So we really needed like a strong methodology to do it correctly. Firstly, we incubated the idea. Basically, we focused on what I have already shown, the problem, the hypothesis, how we want to solve this issue. Once we were once we finalized that part, we moved on to creating partnerships to host the event. For example, we needed a place to do it, a venue, and we had no money, no budget to spend on that. So we contacted a university who allowed us to host this event on their premises, and other type of partnerships. And we launched a strong campaign to connect with potential beneficiaries. We did this not only through social media and mailing, but also we contacted other NGOs who worked with our target audience, so they could help us also share our message with their communities, so that more people would assist our event and more people would be interested in it. And then we've connected with these inspiring leaders so that they could be the speakers in our event. And lastly, we hosted the first session of our event, and we will iterate. So basically, from everything we learned through this first event, we will implement in the next editions. These are some photos of the event. This was one of the workshops. This was a panel speaker with very, very great leaders in our community. And this is the final photo with all the participants. And the impact was we had 6 sessions and 10 speakers were engaged totally in the event. We impacted over 30 women in this first edition. And we created 4 key partnerships for the event. And we learned a lot, and we will implement it in the future events of the program. And just before I pass it on to Sekgabo, I want to share the second project, which is Women for Development. This is a program offered by Junior Achievement, so the NGO I worked at. I didn't develop this project, but I thought it was a great project for me to share with you. And it's focused on empowering women in vulnerable communities. The project finally and primarily focuses on women that are in vulnerable or risky situations due to a diversity of factors. Maybe they are immigrants, or they are facing gender-based violence, or maybe they're living like a poor condition. So there are different factors that make them vulnerable. And the program focuses on strengthening and empowering their entrepreneurship skills. We detected that a lot of women all across Latin America are great entrepreneurs. They have their small businesses. They really want to have that action-driven initiative to do something to provide for their families. So what the program does, it helps them acquire skills, better develop their ideas, and be able to enter the marketplace so that they can gain autonomy, self-efficacy, and also become economically independent. The problem that the project detected is that women face a lot of economic challenges, and as Christina said, sometimes they are the ones who have to maintain the family, so they face this heavily burden. The hypothesis is that if women are trained in how to develop and grow their businesses, they can gain economic independence. And this program is implemented in more than 14 countries in the region, both from Latin America and the Caribbean. And between 2010 and 2020, it impacted over 40,000 women in vulnerable communities who are able to develop their enterprises. So this was everything I wanted to share with you. 2 different projects that are focused on the empowerment of women on a professional setting. And I would pass it on to Sekgabo.
Thank you so much, Nelly. So I have 2 projects that I would like to share with you. And the first one is the UNH Santa Valley UN mobile catering, as well as Education Plus. These are the projects that I was involved in this year. So with the UN House Mobile Catering, earlier this year, the United Nations, the UNAIDS Botswana, opened up an opportunity for young people who are living with HIV to open a catering business. And this was just so to empower young people who are living with HIV, and they specifically wanted young women. So with this opportunity, I partnered with a friend called Sekgabo, and we made a business called Sekgabo Delights, and we are catering for people here in Botswana. And currently we are housed at UNAIDS Botswana, or at the UN house, where we're just serving lunches and breakfast, light food stuff. So through this empowerment, UNAIDS is trying to just bridge, or just trying to normalize living with HIV, and to show people that you can live life beyond HIV and not be limited by living with the virus. Through us young people who are living with HIV that are spearheading the business, and also through our business, we're also now we've partnered with one of the organizations that are helping young people living with HIV, that now we would like to hire young people who are living with HIV so that they can be economically empowered. You know, they work part-time and they earn the little that they're getting, and then from that they should be able to at least go back to school or do short courses through being part of our business. And then this was just when we got the handover from the UN staff, as well as when the regional director was also there with us. So this was just the day when we got the funds. And then the second project that I was a part of is called Education Plus, which highly believes that every adolescent girl in Africa should complete secondary school, and that they should be safe, strong, and empowered. So through Education Plus initiative that was launched here in Botswana, and this is just a structural intervention to promote completion of secondary school. And through completing secondary school, it is believed that through education, then HIV prevention can be fought through young women finishing or completing secondary school. And by so doing, what this means is that because mostly we're having high new HIV infections in Botswana through young women, this is because now they are in intergenerational relationships, or they are dating older men who now, because they have the funds or they have the wallets to give them the money, now they are engaging them in unprotected sex, and they are now reinfecting these young girls or infecting them with the virus. So now with completing secondary school, these young women are able to be empowered economically. They're able to know how to start their own businesses and make their own money, and even do well in school to the point where they end up in university and do better courses or programs that will now take them to higher heights in life for them to make their own money and not depend on older men. So this here is just through evidence or through research, it is shown that education can protect young women against acquiring HIV, while also making sure that they have a better social and economic benefit. And is a collaboration between our Ministry of Education and Skills Development in Botswana, as well as our National AIDS Health Promotion Agency, NAPA, and Health, and the UN family that is found here in Botswana, which is the UNAIDS, UNICEF, UNFPA, and Women here in Botswana. And this initiative was launched in June 20 this year by our first is Nelly Julieta Masisi, who is also the UNAIDS Special Ambassador for the empowerment engagement of young people in Botswana. And it is through her now that we're seeing some of these initiatives coming in, or making sure that they are rolled out throughout the country. And Botswana is the 15th country in Africa to join the Education Plus initiative. And the theme for this launch was A Time for Education Plus, every adolescent girl completing secondary school, safe, strong, and empowered. So through this Education Plus, we're looking forward to making sure that every girl child at least completes secondary school education. So we have a 12-year education system here in Botswana. And these are just some of the pictures of the launch. So I was moderating a session on HIV prevention as well as sexual reproductive health in young people or in adolescent girls and young women here in Botswana. And on this panel, I had 3 young women, and they shared their experiences when it comes to sexual reproductive health and some of the ways on how we can better communicate with them as young people, how they can better communicate with their parents, because now the main issue in Botswana is that our parents find it very difficult to communicate with us when it comes to sexual reproductive health and ultimately HIV prevention. And then the other picture, it was just some of the other panel discussions where we were also with the UNAIDS executive director and the regional director for the Eastern and Southern Africa, in Shongwe, and also our country, the UNAIDS country director, Alanka. And then at the bottom there, it was just me during my panel discussion. And on this day, over 200 young people and adolescent girls and young women from Gaborone and Greater Gaborone attended the session. And some of these young women included students from primary schools around Gaborone. And on this slide here, it's just on the first one, it's just the picture when we were now launching the Education Plus directory, where now here it's just a directory where young women can now access the different NGOs to get information of where to get services and also which clubs to join if they're interested maybe in sexual reproductive health for young men or for boys. And also maybe it's through STEM education, which organization or they can find those services there. So that was the launch when we had it. And then on the top there, I was in a panel discussion with a group of gentlemen. And on this day, this was just the UNAIDS Pizzo here in Botswana on last month. And this was just so we could talk more about reaching the last mile when it comes to sustaining the gains of AIDS response in Botswana. So we know that the UNAIDS has set a target of 95, 95, 95, meaning that 95% of people should test for HIV, and 95% of those who test positive should now be enrolled for treatment, and those 95% should be undetectable. And in Botswana, because we've been doing so well when it comes to HIV or fighting the virus, we are currently at 95, 98, 98, meaning that we're still behind with 5%, 2%, and 2%, which is 5 to 2. So during the Pizzo, we're just discussing some of the gaps that are there for us to fight or be able to reach the 100 target, meaning that we need to have 100% of the people in Botswana having tested for HIV, and those 100%, those who are HIV positive should be on treatment, and those that are on treatment, we should have 100% who are undetectable. So through this, we were discussing some of the gaps that are there, where now we're finding that young women are getting infected, the high rates of new infections in young women, what can be done or what programs can be changed to better the services. And on that graphic is some of the stuff that I did say, that I did point out during my panel discussion, that there's a lot of gender inequalities, and that some of the programs that we have should somehow be revamped to the current young people, because what worked 5 years ago before COVID hit is not going to work right now. So this is just where some of the projects that I've been involved in here in Botswana. And with that said, with all the projects that we've shared so far, now it's time for you to take action. We would like you now to just start something wherever you are in the different countries that you are set in, and that remember that no effort is too small. And also the other thing is that when it comes to doing projects, sometimes collaborations work best. You know, maybe you learned something from maybe Kenya or in Jamaica that is working, then you can take it to your home country and see what works for you. So how you can do this is that some of the steps for you to develop a project is to identify a problem in your community and what I like telling people is that pick a problem or pick a project of something that is of interest to you, so that you don't have to struggle much with finding solutions. And once you found this problem, now it's time for you to now connect with those that are affected with the problem and develop a hypothesis. So go to the people, or yes, to the people who have that issue, and talk to them and try to find ways to help them out. And once you've done that, then create a solution that addresses the different issues, and then test it to see if it's going to work alongside with experts and community members. And after doing that, then create partnerships that it's important for you to collaborate, work with other organizations or other young people to better implement your idea or your project that you may have. And once you've done that, then it's time for you to launch your idea and integrate it, as well as just seeing how it works. And just remember that whenever you start a project, it won't necessarily go the way you've planned it. So you must be ready to adjust or adapt to the situations or the issues at hand, and be flexible to change it or alter it here and there. And with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining our presentation. So I'll hand over to Zenaira. Thank you.
Thank you so much, all three of you. And before we go on to question and answer, I just want to highlight that how amazing it is, and to take off from Sekgabo's point that whenever there is opportunity for collaboration, you should always look into those. All three presenters presented different yet very similar aspects of what they're doing in their communities, for their capabilities, for their interest, but it all comes together. And now they are working together to create more spaces. So I am extremely impressed with what you are doing and how you are mobilizing your communities. And we have some questions that I would like to pass on to you. And for our audience, if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and I can pass them on to our presenters. And I would ask the three of you to also please drop your contact details, maybe your LinkedIn, email in the chat so people can reach out to you. Okay, so first question is for Nelly. It's an anonymous question. They would like to ask if you can share some insights on how women entrepreneurs are being trained. Particularly, what is the curriculum of the Junior Achievement Program?
Thank you for the question, everyone. So we have a curriculum that is like, we have a basic structure, and then we adapt it to the different nations in which it's gonna be implemented, and we also adapt the language. But the basic structure is, at first we begin with more like solid skills or hard skills, sorry. For example, like we start with reviewing their project idea. So is it marketable? Is it financially sustainable? We cover all the basis of entrepreneurship. So product development, financial plan. Then we also do a lot of market training, because these women often do not have these new market skills that would allow them to reach a wider audience. For example, marketing on social media or even TikTok is something we are introducing to our programs to really help them be able to not only sell to their immediate community and their immediate network, but also reach a wider audience. And once that is covered, we also do a selection of soft skills that are very important, and they also depend on the type of women we are helping. If we are addressing women with in severe, like vulnerable states, we do like gender-based violence awareness and a lot of different things that can complement them and help them gain better self-efficacy and autonomy. And we also cover like communication, how to present your project, that is super important, and other soft skills that will complement these hard skills that are more like entrepreneurship based. And in the end of the program, because we really want them to connect with the market and have a product that is viable to be marketed, we do different initiatives to help them connect with the ecosystem. For example, they do fairs where they can sell their products to different people, or we connect them maybe with investors or seed capital, so that they can improve their business, or that they can buy more machines, for example, if they have a bakery, so they can expand their production. Basically, that's the basic path, the hard skills, soft skills, and then the connection with the market. I hope I answered your question.
Thank you, Nelly. Next question is, do you have any plans on expanding your work to different parts of Africa, especially the aspect of young girl child's education?
That one is for Sekgabo, right? I think.
I believe so, yes. But any of you can go ahead.
Okay, so with Education Plus, it's an initiative that's across different countries. So currently in Africa, we have 15 countries that have started the project, and Botswana has just launched it in June. We are just starting, so we're going to be learning from other countries that have been doing it. And the aim is that as time goes on, as many countries as possible would have started the Education Plus initiative.
And one more question about the stigma around HIV. How do you deal with that as an activist yourself, and bringing everyone together to ask for a better treatment?
Okay, so with me, I'm a young person who's living with HIV openly, and I deliberately shared my status because I wanted to normalize living with HIV, because I started treatment at a time when it was in 2003, so it's about 20 years now since I started. And when I started, it was still new in Botswana, so there was a lot of stigma and discrimination back then, 20 years ago, where people were dying, and I've seen a lot of people even rise from their deathbed. So through that whole experience, I then decided that once I'm done with high school, I'm going to share with everyone that I'm living with HIV, so that they can see how my life was throughout, that I was living normally like everyone else, and even did better than other people who are thought to have been normal, that are not living with HIV. So through my experiences, I share my experiences living with HIV to normalize and also fight stigma and discrimination in my country. And when I do encounter it, I just share with people where we've come as a country and where we're headed, and some of the options that are there for us to fight the stigma and discrimination that is there. For example, now instead of having to take medication every day, we're looking forward to now having injectable ARVs, where people are going to be getting injections every 2 months. And now through that, it's going to be one of the ways that help us to fight the stigma and discrimination that is currently there.
All right, thank you so much, Sekgabo, and thank you all three of you once again for sharing this information with all of us. For those of you who are wondering, the presentation slides and the recording of the whole event will be available on youthlead.org. Our presenters have dropped in their chat and their contact details in the chat, so you can reach out to them even after the event, or you can connect with them on LinkedIn. We have to wrap up now because our presenters have other commitments. But thank you so much again for joining. And if you are curious about YouthLead or the previous events in the same series, all the recordings are available on YouthLead along with the presentation slides. So please make sure to check them out and stay updated with our findings. Thank you so much for joining, and have a great rest of your evening.